If the first thing you do in the morning is check your phone, congratulations. You've already lost, not to someone else, but to your own mind. Before the world even had a chance to test you, you handed over your clarity, your strength, your calm to a screen, to noise, to someone else's chaos. And the worst part? You didn't even notice it. Most people live their lives like that. They wake up reacting, not leading, chasing, not choosing. But there's a small group, the 1%, who do something very different each morning. They don't seek motivation. They don't scroll. They don't hope the day will go well. They command it. From the very first breath, they build themselves before the world has the chance to break them. And yes, you can be one of them. In this video, you'll walk through the exact Stoic morning practices used by the most grounded, unshakable people on the planet to rise with clarity, move with purpose, and lead their day with quiet power. This isn't about perfection. It's about ownership of your time, your thoughts, your life. Let's begin. Most people wake up waiting to feel like starting their day. They lie in bed, scrolling through thoughts, moods, and excuses, hoping motivation will strike like lightning. But here's a quiet truth. The people who lead their lives with strength don't wait to feel ready. They act. Not out of impulse, but out of discipline. There's a difference between the person who moves when they feel like it and the person who moves because they said they would. One is a follower of emotion, the other is a leader of self. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius, writing to himself nearly 2,000 years ago, reminded his own mind, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being." That wasn't about chasing success or pleasing others. It was about fulfilling the duty of existence, of showing up to life. No negotiation, no delay, just action. The modern world, however, gives us too much room to argue with ourselves. The alarm rings, and instead of rising, we debate. We whisper things like, "Just 5 more minutes," or "I'll start tomorrow." And each time we do, we lose a little trust in ourselves. Because deep down, we know we're lying. Think of a soldier. When the alarm sounds, he doesn't ask his feelings for permission. He stands. Because training overrides comfort. Think of an elite athlete. He doesn't skip practice because he's tired. He moves because identity demands it. If you want to shift your life, start with this truth. The first decision you make each morning is a vote for who you are becoming. Hit snooze, and you vote for hesitation. Rise on time, and you vote for strength. Discipline doesn't mean you're a robot. It means you're reliable, especially when it's hard. So tomorrow morning, don't wait for the perfect feeling. Set your time. When it arrives, rise without argument. No snooze, no scrolling. Just stand. Say something powerful to yourself, even if you don't fully believe it yet. Something like, "Let's go. The day is mine." Because in that first choice, you reclaim a piece of yourself, and that piece, over time, becomes unshakable. What if I told you that hitting snooze isn't just about getting 5 more minutes of sleep? It's a vote. A quiet but powerful vote for the kind of person you're choosing to become. Every action you take, especially the ones no one sees, is shaping your identity. When your alarm rings and you decide to get up right away, you're voting for discipline, for self-respect, for strength. When you delay, even just a little, you're voting for hesitation, for comfort, for the version of you that never quite follows through. And here's the thing. Most people don't even realize they're voting. They think their choices are isolated, but habits compound. And over time, your actions write the story of who you are. Imagine this. 2 people. Same alarm time. One rises instantly, stretches, breathes deeply, steps into the day with calm. The other snoozes once, twice, scrolls through their phone, feels rushed before they even stand up. The difference doesn't seem huge in the moment, but repeat that every day for a year and those lives become wildly different. That's the power of micro decisions. The way you do one thing often becomes the way you do everything. So tomorrow morning, when your alarm sounds, pause and ask yourself, what am I voting for right now? Am I voting for the future I say I want or for the pattern I say I want to break? It's not about guilt. It's about awareness. And once you become aware, you can reclaim your power. That vote, the one you cast before the world even knows you're awake, it matters more than you think. And once you've made that first choice with intention, the next question becomes, what kind of space are you waking up into? What kind of energy do you let in before your day even begins? Let's talk about that. Your brain, right after waking, is like fresh clay, soft, impressionable, open. In those first few moments, whatever you let in will shape the rest of your day. That's why the first hour after you wake up is so important. It's not just time, it's territory. And you have a choice: protect it or surrender it. Most people surrender it without even realizing. They grab their phone, scroll through notifications, check emails, compare their life to strangers online, all before they've even taken a full breath. Their thoughts aren't their own. Their emotions are already reacting to things that don't actually matter. That's a chaotic start. A noisy mind can't build a clear day. Now picture something different. A stoic morning. You wake up and stay still. No phone, no talking, no music, just you, your breath, and the quiet. You sit or stand near a window, feel the light on your face, place your hand on your chest, and breathe. You let your mind settle. You give yourself 15 minutes, just 15, to exist without reacting. That's the silent morning ritual. In this stillness, you're not avoiding life. You're preparing for it. You're choosing the energy you want to carry. You're listening, not to the noise of the world, but to the truth inside you. That's when the best questions come. What do I want to embody today? Where does my peace come from? What can I let go of before I even begin? The difference between a chaotic morning and a stoic morning is everything. One sets you up to chase, the other sets you up to lead. And the best part? You don't need an hour. You don't need a yoga mat or incense. You just need a little silence and the courage to sit in it. And when you've claimed that calm space for yourself, something powerful happens. You're no longer rushing into the day. You're stepping into it ready. And now, with that inner stillness as your starting point, it's time to talk about something most of us never question. What happens when the first thing your mind touches is your phone? You might not think twice about it reaching for your phone as soon as you wake up. It's automatic. Familiar. Almost comforting. But here's what's really happening beneath the surface. Your brain, still in its most impressionable, sensitive state, is being flooded with noise, demands, opinions, and stimulation it wasn't designed to handle yet. In the first 30 minutes after waking, your brain is shifting from deep rest into alertness. And if the first thing it receives is a hit of notifications, news headlines, and endless scrolling, it responds by triggering a surge of dopamine, a reward chemical that feels good in the moment but leaves you chasing more without satisfaction. This is what scientists call a dopamine hijack, when your attention system gets pulled away from focus and into craving. That's why you can go from checking one message to losing 25 minutes to random content you didn't even plan to look at. But it's not just about time, it's about your mind. When you start the day by reacting to a screen, you're training your brain to be externally driven. That means your mood, your thoughts, your sense of self-worth, they're being shaped by whatever you consume, not by what you choose. Over time, this leads to scattered thinking, lower attention span, and a constant feeling of being behind, even when you're not. It's like giving away the steering wheel of your day before you even get out of bed. The Stoics warned against letting the outside world dictate your inner state. They knew that the first battle is always within. And this is why the decision not to check your phone right away is far more than just a productivity tip. It's a statement of leadership, of ownership, of choosing what gets access to your mind and what doesn't. So tomorrow when you wake up, give yourself the gift of space, even just 10 or 15 minutes. Delay the flood. Start with presence, not pressure. Because when you control what enters your mind, you start to control what flows out of it, and that changes everything. Now that you've protected your mental space, let's go even deeper. How do you train your emotions before they even rise? How do you prepare for the unexpected with calm and clarity? That's what we'll explore next. Most people start their day hoping everything will go smoothly. They expect the coffee to be hot, the meetings to be on time, the traffic to move, and their energy to stay high. But the Stoics had a different approach. They didn't begin their day with blind optimism. They began it with mental preparation for difficulty. It's called premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. It's not about being negative. It's about being ready. When you mentally rehearse what could go wrong before it happens, you give yourself a chance to meet it with strength instead of shock. You walk into the day with your eyes open, not wide-eyed. You've already visited the challenge in your mind, so when it appears in real life, you're steady. Let's say you're driving to work. You're running a little late. A car cuts you off. You feel that familiar heat rise in your chest. Anger, frustration, the urge to shout, to blame, to tense up. Most people would give in, but the Stoic already rehearsed this moment. He imagined it while sipping coffee in silence. He pictured the delay, the driver, the feeling, and he chose in advance not to be owned by it. So now, in real time, he simply breathes and lets it pass. That's not weakness, that's control. This is what separates reaction from response, and you can practice it too. Each morning, take a minute to ask yourself, what could challenge me today? Who might test my patience? What unexpected problem might show up? And how do I want to respond when it does? This is the thought-response outcome model in action. You anticipate a trigger, you choose your response, and that response creates a better outcome, not just for your day, but for your identity. Because when you stop letting outside events decide how you feel, you step into real freedom. And that's what Stoicism is all about. Now that you've rehearsed the challenge and trained your mind to respond with strength, it's time to plant a deeper seed, a reminder you can return to when things get loud. Let's talk about the power of anchoring your mind with a Stoic mantra. There are 3 habits that quietly destroy your morning, and they don't just slow you down, they shape the person you become. The Stoics would have seen them for what they are, traps of the undisciplined mind. They're easy to overlook because they feel normal, comfortable, even justified. But if you don't recognize them, they'll quietly steal your peace, your power, and your purpose before the day has even begun. The first is procrastination. It shows up when your alarm rings and you tell yourself, just 5 more minutes. Or when you sit down to plan your day and end up reorganizing your desk instead. Procrastination isn't laziness, it's resistance. It's the quiet belief that you can delay discomfort and still get the reward. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. Discomfort is the path. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that his body was made for action, not indulgence. To kill this habit, start by shrinking the task. Don't say, I have to do everything right now. Say, I'll begin with 5 minutes of focus. Action breaks the illusion. The second habit is reactivity. It's the knee-jerk impulse to respond to every ping, every comment, every small inconvenience with emotion. You spill coffee, you're irritated. A message comes in, you're already drafting a reply before breathing. The Stoic path invites a pause. Between stimulus and response, there is space, and in that space, you decide who you are. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Reactivity makes every moment louder than it needs to be. To overcome it, insert a breath. A small pause before the reply, before the emotion. Just one breath can reset your state." The third habit is attachment to the external. This is when your mood depends on how others treat you, what the news says, or whether the morning feels good. It's the belief that peace must come from outside. But Stoicism flips that entirely. Peace begins within. Epictetus taught that we should focus only on what's within our control and release the rest. So when the day doesn't go as planned, or when someone's energy rubs against yours, remember, your inner world is yours alone. Cutting these three habits won't happen overnight. But noticing them, that's where change begins. Replace procrastination with small, deliberate action. Replace reactivity with a pause. Replace attachment with inner clarity. These are not just behaviors, they're shifts in identity. And once you clear those obstacles, your mind becomes a space you can trust. Now that the noise is stripped away, you're ready to root yourself even deeper in one powerful thought that guides your entire morning. Let's explore how to anchor yourself with a Stoic mantra. Every morning, before the world tells you who to be, you have a brief, powerful window to remind yourself who you already are. The Stoics understood that identity isn't something you stumble into, it's something you reinforce, day after day, choice after choice. That's why the morning is more than just a time of day. It's a moment of realignment, a moment to reset your mind, your values, your voice. The thoughts you feed yourself first thing in the morning carry a unique weight. Your brain is more suggestible in the first hour after waking, which means the words you speak to yourself in that space don't just float by, they stick. That's why the Stoics made time every morning to reflect, to write, and to return to the truths that anchored them. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations to impress anyone. He wrote them to remember who he was. This is where a Stoic mantra comes in. Not a motivational quote you slap on your screen, but a personal truth, short, grounded, powerful, that becomes your mental armor for the day. Here are 10 examples depending on what you're carrying. For the anxious mind, I am not my thoughts, I am the space that holds them. For the perfectionist, progress is better than control. For the unmotivated, discipline moves me, not mood. For the self-critical, I act, I grow, I let go. For the distracted, my attention is a gift. I choose where it lands. For the overwhelmed, one task, one breath, one moment. For the people pleaser, I don't need approval. I need alignment. For the easily triggered, I pause. I choose. I lead. For the doubtful, I've walked through worse. I keep walking. For anyone starting over, today, I begin again with strength. Your mantra should speak to your current season of life. What truth do you forget when things get loud? What simple reminder brings you back to center? That's your mantra. Once you have it, say it out loud, yes, out loud every morning. Stand tall, breathe deeply, speak it like it matters, because it does. Write it down. Keep it somewhere visible. Let repetition transform it from a phrase into a principle. This small habit isn't just mental, it's identity work. It's a daily act of choosing who you want to be before anyone else has a say. And when you step into your day with that clarity, you don't chase energy, you create it. Now that your mind is anchored and your direction is clear, it's time to sharpen the most powerful tool you own, your inner voice. Let's explore how Stoics master the mind before the world enters. You are what you repeatedly tell yourself. Not once, not on your best day, but in the quiet, forgettable moments, especially in the morning. The words you whisper in your mind, the beliefs you carry on loop, they don't just reflect who you are, they create who you become. This isn't self-help fluff, it's neurological reality. Your brain listens, and it builds pathways based on repetition. If you wake up telling yourself, I'm behind, or I'm not good enough, or this day is going to be hard, your brain doesn't argue, it obeys, and then it scans the day for evidence to prove those words true. The opposite is also real. If you tell yourself, I move with purpose, or I lead myself first, or this day is mine to shape, your mind sharpens around that script. The story changes, and so do you. This is why the Stoics took words seriously, not flashy speeches, but the small, intentional truths they reminded themselves of every single day. Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, they all knew the power of internal language, not to impress others, but to anchor themselves when life got loud. So ask yourself honestly, what story have I been telling myself each morning? And more importantly, is that story helping me become who I want to be? If it's not, change it. Not with hype, with truth. Pick a phrase that reflects the person you're building and say it again and again. Because over time, your identity won't be something you chase, it will be something you trust. Now that the mind is grounded and the self-image is sharpening, it's time to go one layer deeper. To use your own thoughts as a tool for clarity, growth, and inner leadership. Let's talk about journaling. Before the emails, the meetings, the opinions, and the chaos before the world enters, you have a chance to meet yourself. That's what Stoic journaling is about. Not writing for style, not writing to be productive, but writing to be clear, to take the mess in your head and put it somewhere safe so it doesn't follow you into your day. The Stoics journaled not for performance, but for preparation. Marcus Aurelius wrote to remind himself of what mattered, of what he could control, and of how he wanted to carry himself. His pages weren't perfect. They were honest. And that's the kind of writing that changes lives. Journaling isn't about how much you write. It's about how real you're willing to be. You can spend just 5 minutes each morning, sitting somewhere quiet, maybe with your coffee, maybe by a window, and ask yourself 3 simple questions. What am I feeling right now? What do I need to let go of? What kind of person do I want to be today? You don't need a leather notebook or a long entry. You don't even need full sentences. Some days it might just be 3 lines. I feel heavy. I want peace. I will speak calmly today. That's it. But repeat that process for 30 days, and something shifts. Not just your thoughts, but your awareness, your ability to notice the emotion before it takes over, your control over what story you let lead. Journaling is like clearing the desk of your mind before trying to do your best work. Without it, clutter piles up. Reactions come faster. Focus becomes harder. But with it, you create space for clarity, intention, and strength. You don't need to write perfectly, you just need to show up honestly. And over time, your journal stops being just paper. It becomes a mirror, one that shows you who you are and who you're becoming. Now that the mind is clear and steady, it's time to involve another layer of leadership, the body. Because to lead your day fully, you can't just think strong. You need to move strong. Let's talk about that. There's something powerful about a person who doesn't flinch when the world gets loud. Someone who can sit still, not out of fear, but out of presence. While others rush, react, and spiral, the Stoic remains grounded, like stone. Not cold or emotionless, but steady, unmoved. Stillness isn't weakness, it's strength under control. It's the ability to feel everything, stress, pressure, noise, and still choose not to be consumed by it. It's the man who pauses before he speaks, the woman who breathes before she responds, the leader who doesn't match the chaos around them, but calms it by simply being still. That's the kind of energy journaling, silence, and morning intention creates. It doesn't make your day easier, it makes you stronger. You begin to realize you don't need to fight every battle. You don't need to chase every opinion. You don't need to win every argument. Because the person who owns their breath owns the moment. The storm will come, it always does. But if you've trained your mind to be still before it arrives, you don't get swept away, you stay centered. That's what it means to carry inner peace in a world that profits from your panic. And once you've found that calm in your mind, it's time to awaken the body that carries it. Because the Stoics didn't just train thought, they trained movement. Let's step into that next. The Stoics didn't separate the body from the mind, they trained both as one. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that his body was made to rise, to work, to serve its purpose, not to stay curled under blankets. Epictetus went further. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish, he said. And part of that foolishness, in the world's eyes, was discipline over comfort. For the Stoics, the body was a tool of virtue, a vessel for action, and an arena where the will was tested daily. And that test begins the moment you wake up. Movement, especially in the first hour of the day, does something no affirmation or journal ever could. It signals to your mind, I'm ready. When your body moves, your mind follows. Blood flows. Clarity sharpens. Discipline activates. You don't need an intense workout, you need momentum. Even just 10 minutes of intentional movement can change your state. Here's a simple structure that works for nearly anyone, regardless of age, schedule, or fitness level. Minutes 02, stand tall, stretch slowly. Open the chest, roll the shoulders, wake up the spine. Minutes 25, light bodyweight movements, squats, push-ups against a wall, or slow jumping jacks. Minutes 58, walk, pace, or hold a power stance while breathing deeply. Let your posture speak before you say a word. Minutes 8-10, finish with stillness. Stand, let your heart beat slow. Feel the weight of your body. Remind yourself, I command this body. I command this day. And if you want to take it further, there's one ritual that Stoics would have embraced without hesitation. The cold shower. It's uncomfortable. It's unpleasant. And that's the point. A cold shower each morning isn't about hygiene. It's about choosing discomfort on purpose before the world throws it at you. You train your nervous system to stay calm under stress. You teach yourself that you can feel the shock and not flinch. That's real Stoic practice. Not theoretical. Embodied. So whether it's 5 minutes of movement or 1 minute under cold water, you're not just waking your body, you're honoring it. You're proving before breakfast that you can do something difficult. And when you start the day with that kind of self-respect, everything else starts to shift. Now that your mind is calm and your body is in motion, you're ready for the final principle, the one that turns morning effort into lasting identity, the daily rehearsal of who you choose to become. Before you step out into the world, take one final step inward. Ask yourself a simple but powerful question. If a camera followed me around today, would I live in a way I'd be proud to replay? That question alone can shift your energy. It moves you from autopilot to intention, from drifting through the day to designing it. This is the essence of mental rehearsal. The Stoics practiced it not as fantasy, but as discipline. They imagined hardship before it arrived. But they also imagine themselves rising, walking through the day with calm, courage, and control. They weren't trying to be perfect. They were preparing to be aligned. Visualization isn't about pretending. It's about pre-living. It's taking 2-3 minutes in silence and mentally stepping into your own shoes for the next 12 hours. Picture yourself moving through traffic without tension. Picture a tough conversation and see yourself listening before reacting. Picture your posture, your tone, your presence not rushed or defensive but grounded. Picture yourself choosing a quiet no instead of a noisy yes. That's the rehearsal. Think of a warrior sharpening his blade before battle. He doesn't wait for the fight to begin. He prepares, so when the moment comes, he doesn't have to think he knows. That's what this practice gives you, a mental template. So when life pulls you, you don't snap, you respond with alignment. Even modern leaders use this. Michael Jordan was famous for mentally playing through games before he stepped onto the court. He'd see the court, the pressure, the foul shots, the final seconds, and see himself steady. In ancient times, Marcus Aurelius would visualize a day full of interruptions, judgments, and resistance, and see himself calm through it all. These men didn't hope they'd rise to the moment. They trained for it. So ask yourself each morning, who do I want to be today? How will that person stand, speak, listen, and lead? Where will I be tempted, and how will I respond? Picture it, feel it, and then step into your day as if you've already lived it once with clarity, with composure, with intention. And now, you've reached the end of the path, not the end of a routine, but the beginning of a new identity. Let's bring it all together. A powerful morning doesn't happen by chance. It's designed. And after everything we've explored, discipline, silence, journaling, movement, visualization, it helps to see how it all fits together. So here it is, a full 60-minute Stoic morning, broken down by time, built for clarity, intention, and strength. 05 minutes. Wake up without hesitation, no snooze, no negotiation. The day begins the moment your alarm sounds. Sit up, stand, speak something strong to yourself. Let your first move be one of command. 15 minutes. Sit in silence and anchor your mantra. No phone, no talking, no noise. Just stillness. Let your breath settle. Repeat your Stoic mantra out loud or in your mind. Something short, true, and grounding. I move with discipline. I lead my thoughts. I respond, not react. Let it echo in your body. 15-25 minutes. Journal with honesty. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? What do I need to let go of? What virtue do I want to carry today? Write without pressure. A few lines is enough. You're not writing to impress, you're writing to understand. 25-35 minutes. Visualize the person you want to be. Close your eyes. See yourself walking through the day with poise and strength. Picture your posture, your decisions, your responses to stress. Rehearse your calm. Rehearse your alignment. You're not guessing how you'll act, you're practicing it. 35-45 minutes. Move your body deliberately. Stretch, walk, do light exercise. Wake up your strength. Teach your body that it's here to serve, not to slouch. If you can, take a cold shower, face discomfort on purpose. Let it build your will. 45-60 minutes. Eat and prepare with presence. Fuel your body with something clean and simple. Don't rush. Don't scroll. Get dressed with calm. Breathe deep. Look in the mirror not to critique, but to connect. Say, I'm ready. I'm steady. Then, step into your day not just awake, but aware. This is more than a schedule. It's a statement. You're not just checking off a routine. You're stepping into the role of a leader of your time, your energy, and your identity. If you're still tired by 10 a.m., even after 8 hours of sleep, it's probably not your body that's exhausted, it's your mind. Not because you're weak, but because your morning was never truly yours. From the moment you woke up, you were reacting, scrolling, rushing, absorbing noise, forgetting your power. But it doesn't have to be that way. You've now seen what the 1% do differently, not because they're superhuman, but because they choose intention over impulse. Here's a reminder of what they practice. 1. They wake with discipline, not motivation. 2. They cast votes for the identity they want, starting with that first choice. 3. They protect the first hour with silence. 4. They avoid the dopamine trap of the phone. 5. They prepare for challenges before they arrive. 6. They eliminate the habits that weaken the mind. 7. They anchor themselves with truth through mantra, stillness, and journaling. 8. They move their body to activate their strength. 9. And they rehearse the version of themselves they want to become before the world has a chance to tell them who to be. You don't need to master all of this at once. You don't need a perfect morning. You just need to be awake, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, intentionally awake to what matters. Because when you rise with clarity, when you lead your first hour, when you decide, before anything else, who you are and how you'll carry yourself, you change everything. You don't wake up like the rest. You rise like the 1%. If this video spoke to you, take a moment now, drop your favorite Stoic mantra in the comments. What truth do you want to carry into tomorrow morning? I read every one. If you're ready to keep building this mindset, don't stop here. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and check out the next video. The Deep Stoic Evening Routine, because how you end the day is just as powerful as how you begin it. Wake up with intention, walk with power, sleep with peace.